said Hiccup, pointing to a large fish at the top of the map. This is the map of the Amberslave, and look, there's a large fish at the top of it. Oh. To find the lost jewel of Grimbeard the Ghastly. That's the map to find the lost jewel of Grimbeard the Ghastly. There's a large fish on it. A fish so long that it took up the entire space from left to right. What is that? Trust seafaring creatures like dragons and Vikings to know their fish species. It's a member of the herring family, said the Wodenspang. And what colour is it? Red, said Toothless proudly. Ask me another one. I know all the colours, he confided confidentially to the Windwalker. You see, said Hiccup, in the human world, a red herring is another way of saying a false start or a wrong direction. My knowledge of Grimbeard the Ghastly is that he was a tricky man, and this is his way of saying that the jewel isn't in the slave lands at all. Oh, that is clever. What do you think, Wodenspang? The Wodenspang was the only one of the four of them old enough to have actually met Grimbeard the Ghastly more than 100 years before. So now he looked back through time to remember that dreadful man, and what that look told him was that Grimbeard was the trickiest trickster since the trickster god Loki put his particularly tricky hat on. Said the Wodenspang. It did seem exactly the sort of thing that Grimbob would do. And suddenly a maze of mirrors seemed an unlikely thing to be finding in Prison Darkheart, which was probably furnished on the basic side. Then the Wodenspang raised a cunning eyebrow. Then it could be a double bluff, he said. So, said the gentle voice of the Raggedy Ringwalker, if the Dragon Jewel isn't in the land of slave lands, when then exactly is it? That's why it's not so simple, said Hiccup, waving wide his arms. It could be anywhere. At that moment there was a definite rustle from above, as the hidden warrior and the hidden dragon, who were up above Hiccup and Toothless and the Wodenspang, craned forward with interest to see what was written on Hiccup's map. The effect on the four companions below was immediate. The Wodenspang shot up a foot in the air, its tattered ears turning electrically rigid and purply red, and pointing first west, then south, then east, then north. Danger! Squeaked the Wodenspang in the loudest whisper he could whisper. Danger! Quick! Hiccup! Look, he's shouting. Danger! Quick! Hiccup, get your helmet on! Oh no, guys, really, it's far too big. I think I'd find it easier to fight without it. But the dragons ganged up on him, 3 to 1. You need it, whispered the Wodenspang. Remember back in Dangerbrush Island when you accidentally lost your ear? And that poison dart that just missed you when you were undoing the Visitha dragon traps? What about the head-lopping incident with the head-loppers over in nowhere? The Windwalker padded anxiously back and forward. A helmet wouldn't save you from having your head lopped off, argued Hiccup. The Wodenspang. Fang is right, agreed Toothless, who was agreeing with the Wodenspang more and more these days. Squeaking, the Wodenspang and Toothless lifted the detested helmet from the back of Hiccup's rucksack, and with the help of the Windwalker, they tenderly jammed it on Hiccup's head. I love this picture because I love that Toothless, look, he's jumping up and down to make sure that poor old Hiccup has the helmet on. They're trying to help, but I'm not sure. It was an old Visitang one that they had burgled a couple of weeks ago, and it was a very bad fit. It's really uncomfortable, grumbled Hiccup. Plus the big feather thingy makes me very memorable. I'm supposed to be undercover, you know, and our cast has to melt into the background. Shh! The Wodenspang put his wing to his lips. I told you, said the Wodenspang. I've had this really bad feeling that the Dragon Purist has sent some new dragon to assassinate you. Something really terrifying. Yes, Wodenspang, you said, Hiccup, you're always getting these feelings, but listen, it's all gone quiet. That's the thing about this new dragon, though, whispered the right Wodenspang. It's almost undetectable. It's one of those tracker dragons. The four companions stretched their ears out into the white, muffled world of trees and snow. Nothing. Look, they're listening, but nothing. Maybe it was a false alarm, whispered Toothless. I love them all looking, and then, oh, that's Wodenspang. No, that's the Windwalker. You can just see his tail. One's looking in one direction. Up in the treetops, the warrior and the dragon sat still as stone. Not a leaf moved. The forest seemed to hold its breath, and then, With a scream as loud as a charging baboon, the warrior, hidden in the tree canopy above, exploded into action, erupting from the foliage and descending from above in a shower of leaves and broken branches like some swooping noble nightmare of revenge. Splow! Zing! If Hiccup and the Windwalker hadn't been living on their nerves for the past year, they might not have dodged backwards so fast, and Hiccup would have been deader than a dodo. For the zing that zing-parked Hiccup's nose was the zing of an arrow that missed him by inches and buried itself in a tree trunk a couple of feet behind him. Clang! The dodging backwards brought his visor clanging down where it jammed tight shut. Uh-oh, thought Hiccup, who was an intelligent boy. This person wants to kill me. Bong, bong, bong! 3 more arrows came raining harmlessly off the detestable helmet. Thanks, guys. The helmet was a good call, thought Hiccup as he jumped on board the Windwalker who shot off through the trees. And then he couldn't believe his eyes when he looked over his shoulder and saw the dragon that was following them. Oh, for Thor's sake, you couldn't mistake that particular dragon. It was the Silver Phantom. Even though it was the dead of night, every single silver scale was lit up and shone brighter than was strictly possible in real life. The Silver Phantom seemed to give off its own light like the moon. Its scream was so high and so loud that it felt as if it was setting fire to your ears. As it screamed, it poured out a jet of bright blue flame that blasted the trees in front of it, burning their leaves as bright as green stars, before dropping to the ground in powdery black smithereens. The Silver Phantom was absolutely unmistakable. It was unique. It also just so happened to be the riding dragon that belonged to Hiccup's mother. Which meant that the warrior currently reloading her Northbow, this terrifying warrior, and taking careful aim at Hiccup, while guiding the screaming phantom by the strength of her warrior knees alone, that particular warrior was in fact Hiccup's own mother, Valhalla Rama. Hiccup saying, "Oh no!" Because I don't think she'll realise it's Hiccup because he's wearing that stupid helmet that he can't take off. Oh dear, this is unfortunate. Silver Phantoms, that's her Silver Phantom. Some of the air dragons fly at such high altitudes that humans have never seen them. A Silver Phantom is one such dragon, grimps very rarely at astonishingly high distances. These sorts of dragons are sometimes known as ghosts because some people doubt they exist at all. Wow, that sounds a bit like a Night Fury, doesn't it, a Silver Phantom? And we'll have to have chapter 2 tomorrow, and chapter 2 is called A Few Little Communications Problems. Oh dear. Okay.